Go.
Hello, elementary families, parents. I know we have some students on this broadcast as well. My name is Jeff Frankowiak, and I have the proud privilege to be the principal of the K-12 RCS virtual campus. On behalf of our entire team, on behalf of our entire district, we are so excited to go on this journey with you. We know you have questions, and we are going to do the very best that we can to give you all the answers you're looking for today. Now, we had several families use that question form that we had sent out, which we're excited to see that. So we tailored this presentation based on those questions we received, but sometimes when you answer a question, you have another question, and that's okay. So you can still email us at rcsvirtual@rochester.k12.mi.us, or you can follow any of our social media links, and we're gonna be right here with you. So we are gonna be connected. You're gonna be hearing from us often, and please remember, we are in your corner. Just a little bit about me. I used to be a principal at Longmeadow Elementary here in Rochester Community Schools. And before that, I was a high school principal. I was an assistant principal. I was a guidance counselor. I used to work at a virtual program, and working with kids has been a passion of mine. And I know that this type of environment has quite a few folks who have jumped on this journey with us. Some of you are looking for a completely different learning path, regardless if we were in a pandemic or not. And some of you are looking for just a response as we mitigate COVID-19. No matter what brought you here, I assure you that you're going to have a world-class RCS education. And it is one of those things too, that it's going to be contingent on the experience. It's going to be contingent on the partnership that we're able to forge ahead as we move through this process. So bear with us. We have a few slides that we're going to be just covering some background information on the RCS virtual campus. And then we'll start diving in to some questions. You're going to meet some other staff members today who I think will also give you some great perspective on what the first day of school looks like and how to access your materials and who your teacher is going to be. So let's dive right in. So as we look right now, our the philosophy of the campus is one of those things that was almost a cornerstone of guiding this work. And I want folks to remember that we have essentially launched a program that research would dictate that takes 2 years for us to come together. And when I say we, I'm not just saying the RCS staff, I'm saying we as a collective RCS community. It's going to take all of us in Rochester Community Schools to make this program as successful as it can be. We are realizing opportunities left and right, but we're also going into it with a game plan that we feel is pretty solid. And again, you're going to learn about, but it's also a game plan that is going to be subject to the feedback that you provide. And so when you look at the philosophy, I want to make sure we highlight one specific area, and that's the unique partnership between staff and families will support student learning and provide options for flexibility. Many of you are asking for a flexible learning environment, and we're going to provide that for you. But I do want to definitely emphasize that when it comes to coaching, it comes to parent support, we want to make sure that parents understand that teachers will be your guide as you learn curriculum and you learn education and you go through course content. But as a parent, we really need you in your students' corner. We need you to be checking in with them. How did your day go? What did you learn about? If they are reading a book, ask them a couple questions about, what was the story about, or who are the characters in it, or what did you learn from it? Just by engaging in your child's learning in those regards is going to definitely have a much more expanded desirable outcome for this process. The exciting thing too is if you're a family who is looking to go back to the in-person context, whether it's at the trimester break or even next year, you're going to find that you're going to have a different type of learning partnership with your child. And I think this is something that we're all going to grow a little bit differently with as educators. And so it's something that we can definitely take away as we move forward. One thing I also want to say is, that our teachers are highly qualified Rochester Community Schools faculty and staff. You're going to meet some of them in a minute, as I said, but it's also staff who took it upon themselves to meet the challenge, to meet the call. And we came together and we've been working all week long unpacking this new style of learning. And I just want to stress that they are ready. They're excited. I know for me personally, I was kind of an island of one, and we've been adding teammates, but the staff came together. So you might be wondering how many staff members are going to be connected to the RCS group. Well, first off, let's see how big the students are. So right now we have 174 elementary students will be joining us today, in this program, 792 middle school students, 752 high school students, with a grand total of over 3,300 students are coming on this journey with us. So I just want to make sure that we remember that this is a big initiative. I don't think any of us thought that we'd have this much interest in our community to join this campus, but it's also something I want you to remember, that the creation of this campus was in response to family feedback of looking for that other learning opportunity. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Lindstrom, and let him do an introduction. So, Mr. Lindstrom.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Frankowiak. We're doing a little social distancing in the room here as we go through this. So real fast, I would just wanted to introduce myself to everybody. My name is Brian Lindstrom. I first and foremost am a parent of this district. I have 3 sons that are all enrolled in these schools here. 2 of them are at Brooklands Elementary, and this year we're making that transition over to Ruther Middle School. So first and foremost, I see myself as a parent of this great community. As a teacher for the past 15 years, I've taught over at Rochester Adams High School. And over there, I was a student council director, social studies teacher, and activities coordinator. So I'm really, really excited to bring some of that pep and some of that fun to some of the things that we have going on here at the virtual campus. During my teaching, kind of what draw me into this was really that we did some innovative things at the high school level. One, we had hybrid classes where we had students who would only show up to the actual brick and mortar building 3 days a week, and the other 2 days a week they were learning online. And I also got to teach in the distance learning lab. And at the distance learning lab, I was actually at Rochester Adams High School, and I had students at Rochester and Stony Creek taking a class with me at the same time. So really similar to what we're going to be doing as we go along this journey. So Mr. Frankowiak was talking about this impressive amount of students and the kids that we have here. And I just want to touch upon our staff. 147 teachers right now, and I should actually say we're still adding to that number as our enrollment grows with this stuff, but from school teachers, counselors, support staff, ESL, special educators, and administrators. So we're really excited. We're still meeting people as they're coming on board, and like Jeff said, it's kind of an island, and we just keep expanding and expanding our family as we go through this. I just want to share with you a few pictures from our first staff meeting. So we got on our first staff meeting, we decided to play a little Pictionary game. And one of the unique things about this campus that I'm finding out right away is that I get to work with elementary people. I've been living in secondary land for a long time now, and I'm so excited to meet our elementary folks. The energy and the passion that they bring is unbelievable. And some of the creative ways that they are coming up with to connect to students and connect to families has been really, really impressive to me. So this is our staff, and you can see it's going to be several pages long as we keep scrolling through this and taking a look at all these faces that are hopping on and are eager and ready to go. And while the first day of school isn't quite like what it is that we're all accustomed to, just again, their passion and energy has been unreal. I also want to share with you some of the things that our teachers have been working on. And as we get going here to get digital, we've had a few teachers create some of their what we call Bitmoji classrooms. And this is really going to be like a one-stop shop place, a hub for kids to access their resources and links to vital things that they might need. Could be textbooks, could be links to assignments, links to videos. And so our teachers have been getting pretty creative with this as they go through and create and add some of their personal touch. This one is by Miss Catherine Clark, a second grade one. And I'll show you the next one here that is done by Melissa Van Slembrook. And we like that Spartan tag in the background over there with some golf clubs and everything. So teachers are getting really, really creative in how they're putting these together as they get going forward in their work here. So I just want to take a few seconds to talk about these key words. In an education land, when we start talking about some of the vocabulary that has popped up, these are 2 new words that have been floating out there that we want to clarify real quick. And we'll start with synchronous versus asynchronous learning. And you're going to hear teachers reference this, and you're going to hear administrators talk about this as well. But the basic idea is synchronous is when we get all the kids onto a checkpoint, right? They're all on a Zoom call, they're checking in with their teacher, they're having conversations, the class is meeting together. We call that a synchronous learning environment. When you hear asynchronous, when we say asynchronous, we're talking about lessons that the teachers have done or put together that might actually involve some type of instructions, directions, how to do stuff. Maybe they're videos of them modeling how it's happening. The read aloud, shared writings. Those are things that students are going to be doing on their own with directions from the teachers. So when we say synchronous learning, it's with the staff and the students together in one spot. Asynchronous, they are working on their own off of the direction from the teacher. So I'm going to share those two pieces here, and I'm going to actually turn it over to Mr. Frankowiak again about the schedule, and he's going to take you guys through what a typical day might look like.
Thank you, Mr. Lindstrom. You know, I cannot brag about Mr. Lindstrom enough. He's been on board for about a week, and just like many of us, we thought we'd be going into the fall with one expectation, and all of a sudden our worlds are kind of shifting, but he hasn't missed a beat. And I know many of our elementary families coming on board since my time in Rochester, but as you get to know him as well, you're going to find he's a fantastic resource. So many of the questions that we've been receiving have to do with the schedule, and that's completely understandable. So let's break it down. This is lower elementary. So if you have a youngest learner with kindergarten through second grade, this is what a schedule could be like. And when I say could be like, teachers are going to be posting what the schedules will look like specific to their grades. Due to shared specials teachers and due to some of the resources that we have, the schedule might have to be tweaked a bit, but it will be still in these time constraints. So you'll see that in every area, there is kind of a asterisk time, which is where Mr. Lindstrom was saying is synchronous learning. And that's going to be either live or recorded sessions. Now, our teachers are going to go live as much as possible, but the amount of content, when you curate it and you create it and you also differentiate it to make sure that every student has something that's tailored for their learning style and their learning trajectory, it does take time and a substantial amount of it. And so when it comes to live or recorded lessons, you will find that teachers will have content posted specifically at these times, and they're going to go live as much as possible. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from one of our first grade teachers who's going to walk you through Google Classroom, and then you're going to hear from one of our fifth grade class teachers who will talk a little bit more about in Upper L how that specifically looks like. The one thing, so you'll see in the morning, we have a morning meeting. I'm proud to say that we're going to be adopting the Positivity Project in the virtual campus. And so students will be engaging in social emotional learning lessons, and they'll be engaging in different ways where they can connect with their peers and understanding the concept, which is a foundational component of those morning meetings, that quote, other people matter. And you'll learn quite a bit about that through your teacher as they guide you through this journey. I want to highlight and start my response there because that hits many of your questions. I know when you're looking at the virtual campus and you're looking at the remote schedule, remote has that Wednesday, which is set up for that social emotional learning. And social emotional learning is just as valuable for all of our children in RCS. And you will see that when you look at artifacts teachers are sharing and staff are sharing, that was a big part of our professional development trajectory this week as well. But when it comes to specifically social emotional learning, it's going to be embedded every day. Teachers are going to find ways to create it and to adjust it and make sure it's embedded. But remember, with the virtual campus, this is meant to be a consistent everyday type of experience for children. Remote is meant to pivot when the brick and mortar buildings are not an option. So when in-person is not an option, that's where remote comes in. In this case, it's because of the pandemic, but there could be a variety of reasons where families might have to pivot to remote in the brick and mortar context. So virtual, you really want to make sure you got that distinction there, and we'll be sending more information, which I think will make sure it's a little bit clear. But just keep in mind, the social emotional learning and the development of the whole child is going to be key. So when you look at like that, that's essentially the morning. And then what's going to happen is kids are going to have breaks. And it's also one of the things too, that lessons that are created live, students are highly encouraged to attend because we have to make sure we're checking in with the attendance from now and then, but they're also going to be recorded. So for whatever reason, if it works in your schedule and there's plenty of you that want that flexible learning environment, and you know what, 8:30 doesn't work because our family has another experience. Our family is overseas, which I know many of you tuning in, that's your case, and there's a time difference. There could be a variety of reasons that specific time does not work for you. And so that lesson's recorded and it will be cataloged in an access resource that you'll have, you'll be granted access to, and be able to view it at the time that works for you. The biggest thing is, and this goes back to that parent coaching piece, and this is not exclusive to lower elementary, we want to make sure that families are keeping up and checking in with their children to making sure they're on track. You know, it's very easy, you know, kids are going to get sick, they might miss a day. That happens, it happens in our traditional setting, right? But if the train backs up too much, meaning if students miss too many lessons, it is harder and harder to catch up because they're also not in sync with their classmates. Cooperative learning, I know it might seem a little unorthodox because we have a computer monitor separating us, but cooperative learning is still going to be paramount in the virtual context. And so in order for that to happen, kids have to be aligned. And so I just want to make sure we draw a little attention to that. So same thing's going to happen, but in the afternoon, we have this 12 to like 1:30 p.m. recess and lunch block. I know that overlaps with the first screen I showed you by about 20 minutes. That's okay. The teachers are going to be making tweaks. We wanted to send out a general schedule, but we're having our specials teachers from the brick and mortar setting come in as well. So we'll have special teachers for, you know, all 4 areas, you know, art, music, media, and physical education jumping in daily with students. Then of course we'll have brain breaks, and then we'll continue with the content. Lower elementary has a 90-minute target for instructional online time. We've gone through quite a bit of research looking from the medical community and the education community, and that honestly seems to be the sweet spot for making sure that children are not getting too much screen time, because that is such a thing, believe it or not, but also are able to process the information as well. So you'll see it's chunked out in those like 10-minute, 20-minute increments for that reason. For what it's worth, as adults, we're the same way. I know we're doing an hour-long presentation, but we're recording it as well, because statistically, right about now, your sponges might be getting a little full and you might have to reference the recording. Honestly, it has, you know, nothing to do with the age of the child in that case. So it's just us as people. Really quick, many of the things I said apply to the upper elementary schedule, but you'll see that the endurance is a little bit bigger for as the children do get older. And so some of these chunks go from 10 minutes to 15 minutes. But just like the lower elementary schedule, teachers are going to have specific, you know, kind of schedules that they look at. So one group might say, you know what, our literacy block is going to be in the afternoon and not the morning for a variety of reasons. But the grade level themselves will be coordinated together. So I just want to make sure that that is not something lost. And just like the other track, you're going to see that specials take place from 12 to 1:30 every single day. Again, we do that because we're collaborating with our brick and mortar counterparts or our in-person counterparts who are able to send their special staff on over. So instead of 90 minutes, there's about 120 minutes of live or recorded lessons every day for upper elementary. And as students get their strides, they're going to be able to kind of almost say, you know what, I can go live for a couple hours, but after that, I have to, like, you know, take it back. Or, you know what, I work a little bit better in the evening because I get all that stimuli is like a little bit quieter in the evening. I don't have, you know, so much going on in the house during the day. So each kid really can almost kind of choose their own adventure in that. So again, those live lessons, we encourage as much as possible to tune into, but if it's one of those things that's not available, that's okay. So I'm so excited for this part. I know they might be a little nervous because we're talking to the masses, but I want to introduce you to very special people. So I'm going to let Miss Robinson and Miss Veltri take it away. So Miss Robinson, meet the crew. There's a microphone right down here.
Okay. Hello.
Yep.
Oh. Hello, everybody. I am Jennifer Robinson. I have been teaching in the district. This will be going into my 9th year. Before that, I previously taught in Detroit and in Baltimore. So this is my 13th year overall in education. And I am a proud RCS graduate. I went to Rochester High School. And when I came back to the district, I taught at McGregor, Longmeadow, and now I'm so excited to be part of the virtual campus.
Hello, my name is Sarah Veltri. This is my 9th year teaching and my 4th in RCS. All 4 years of those RCS years have been at Brooklands Elementary. I've taught kindergarten and 1st grade there, but in my totality of teaching, I've taught kindergarten, 1st grade, and 5th grade. So excited to move into the 1st grade virtual campus team and get started with a really remarkable year. So Ms. Robinson, Jen and I are going to be talking about kind of some questions we think you might be having as parents. And one thing that we want to touch on first of all is what can your students expect with teachers? And a lot of things are changing right now, but one thing stays the same. Your child is going to have a warm, welcoming educator. The teachers have been working so hard and we cannot wait to get started with your students on Tuesday. We are really excited and we've been very busy getting our school year started. So I just hope that you know that your students have a teacher that already loves them and can't wait to meet them.
Another thing that you can expect this year in this virtual campus is that we are very well aware of the fact that we are all kind of jumping into this digital online learning experience kind of head first. And so we have really planned for the first 2 weeks of school to have orientation modules that will teach the students how to navigate this online world of learning. And it will also be available for parents because we know that as parents, as learning coaches, or whomever is going to be helping your child with their education, their online education, it's going to be helpful for you to know how to do things like accessing Google Classroom, accessing Google Drive, who are the various specials teachers and how to send emails to teachers. We are really focusing on making sure students understand the importance of digital citizenship and how to have online etiquette. So all of these experiences and this instruction is going to be a focal point of the first 2 weeks of school.
Piggybacking off of what Mr. Frankowiak and Mr. Lindstrom were talking about in terms of scheduling and learning, there's going to be some online live instruction where your students can sign on and see their teachers in both whole group and small group instruction, which gives us as teachers times to give direct instructions for what everyone in the class might need, and also times to really target individual students and small groups of students in the different subject areas. So those will be really valuable learning times.
And again, going back to the flexibility of having offline learning experiences as well. So every teacher knows that it's not going to be ideal for any student to be on the computer screen from 8:30 to 3:30, 3 o'clock every single day. So even if your child is tuning in for live lessons, they will experience a live whole group lesson or a live mini lesson, and then there will be offline activities that they will do to meet that learning objective or that learning target. And then they will rejoin again for some sort of a recap with their classroom. But we are very cognizant of the fact that we need to have a balance. And so there will be online and offline learning experiences that will be available for students who want the live experience as well as doing the recorded experience as well.
And just like all students need, no matter if they're virtual or temporary remote, they're going to need a focus on social emotional learning. So we've adapted the Positivity Project, which we're really excited to get going in the virtual campus. It's really going to focus on character traits and having your students learn and grow as the whole child, and you'll notice their vocabulary shifting in that way, which will be really special.
And again, just to reiterate that we are very much focused on having a balance of on-screen and off-screen instruction and time to support the whole child. That goes back to the idea, again, with their social emotional learning, making sure that we are tapping into and helping grow all aspects of your child's development. So another question that we know a lot of families are having about this online experience, this virtual campus, is looking for ways that kids will be able to engage and connect to the lessons. So one of the things that's kind of paramount throughout all of our instructional planning is that we are mirroring the workshop model that you will see that you are used to in the brick and mortar classroom. So whether it's reading, writing, or math, we have a whole group, we have a whole group mini lesson, and then there is independent practice, and that might occur offline. So maybe they're reading independently in their independent reading book, or they might be even in breakout rooms for reading, and they're doing book clubs, or they're doing a project with pencil and paper. And then they'll come back after a period of time with this independent practice to have a share again with that whole group.
So we've talked a lot about what you can expect for live, but what will that look like? We promise it will be interactive and engaging. We will take into account all types of learners, just like we do in the brick and mortar classroom. We know some students are kinesthetic learners and they need to be moving. And so we'll incorporate that into our lessons. We know that some students are visual learners, so we'll need to share our screens and make sure that they get what they need. We'll make sure that some students are auditory learners, so they are hearing, and we're incorporating songs or poems or lyrics that are going to instill the content so that they're getting what they need from us. So just like what we would do in a brick and mortar classroom, we're going to incorporate those through the screen and be as interactive and engaging as possible.
And, you know, one of the things that is really important also to keep in mind, you know, you can have live learning without it being the entire class on a Zoom meeting. So again, in part of this independent practice, part of these ways that we're going to make sure that students are connected, not just with their teacher and the lessons, but also with each other, is to really focus on small groups. So whether it's math groups that are meeting in a breakout room, or reading groups that are meeting in a breakout room, or even in science and social studies, they can get together in these smaller groups and have discussions, building those connections with each other and with their teacher in a way that, you know, is comfortable, because maybe instead of, you know, in a class with, in a whole group Zoom with 25 students, you're now only with 5 other students, and you're able to really engage in in-depth conversations and ask questions of your peers in a way that they might not feel comfortable doing in a whole group setting. We are actively focused on making sure that small group interaction and instruction is incorporated throughout the day.
So we've spoken about how flexibility is one of kind of the pillars of the virtual campus. And so teachers know that. And so some of our lessons are going to be pre-recorded. And those lessons that are recorded are able for you to watch at home on your own schedules. We'll make sure that they're quick and concise so that it's to the point teaching that will guide both students and their learning coaches towards independent work. So once you've watched the videos, your student will have a goal or a task to go and do on their own. Even if they didn't see the teacher live, they'll still get that exceptional instruction.
Yes, absolutely. I think what Sarah and I really most want parents to understand is that we know that families chose the virtual campus for a variety of options, for a variety of reasons, I'm sorry. But if you are looking for the kind of cohesiveness of the brick and mortar setting, we will offer that. Your child will have multiple opportunities throughout the day to see their teacher, to see their classmates, to ask questions and engage. That will feel very similar to what it was like in the brick and mortar classroom. And again, recognizing that there are families that chose this option because they needed the flexibility, those lessons will be recorded. Every single teacher in the virtual campus, our goal is to do whatever we can to help your child succeed. So all of these options are available. Every teacher will be flexible and work with you to meet the needs of your family.
Absolutely. And when your student is doing their independent work, encouraged to be independent so that we as teachers can see what they know on their own. We can give them that specific individual feedback that's tailored exactly where they're at. So that if you turn in an assignment and you're a little bit worried that, oops, my student spelled some words wrong, or that math didn't look quite right, we encourage that independence. We encourage those mistakes so that we can guide your students just like we do in the classroom. That way we can, pair them in groups to do small group instruction. We can meet with them one-on-one to say, hey, that didn't look right. Let's talk about it. And things like that. So that independent work is really encouraged to be independent so that your student can learn and grow with our support and with your support as a learning coach.
And there will be multiple ways for students to share what they have learned and what they've accomplished, what they've done with their classmates, with us as the teacher. We have a variety of different platforms that we're exploring, like Flipgrid. We have Google Classroom, which Sarah will show, kind of do a brief tour of in a few minutes. Students can take pictures of their work and attach it to their assignments. One of the things I'm most excited about is just really exploring how we can use all of these amazing technological advances and softwares and programs out there to connect with students and give them these tools that they're going to need to be just these incredible digital citizens as they grow and as they learn. So it's a learning experience for all of us, but how exciting that we get this opportunity.
Thanks, Jen. I think that's perfect. So I'm going to share a Google Classroom with you all right now, because that's the platform that all students K through 5 will be navigating. So let me share my screen. Can you see that? Okay, great. So your teacher will be reaching out as soon as we get those assignments, and they will be letting you know how to log on to the different classrooms. So you will notice that every student has these are called cards, a card for the different subject areas. And the reasoning behind this was to give you a clear organization to how your student, to where your students' materials will be. So let's say you wake up on Monday and you want to do a little bit of reading. Instead of looking through one big classroom, you can just go directly to the reading card. Also, you'll notice that there's a homeroom card, and that's kind of your home base with your classroom teacher. So I'm going to go into, this is a student, I logged in to one of a student's Gmails. You'll use their RCS Gmail. And this is what a homeroom might look like. I want to clarify that all of our teachers have different expertise, and all of our teachers, things might look a little different. We want to be as cohesive as possible, but our creativity and our personality will shine through. So this is mine. And this is what a homeroom could look like. And there's 3 different parts to a Google Classroom. There's a stream where you'll notice the teacher is going to put any important information. So this is just a little ditty about the first day of school, any sign, a sign, and then you'll notice that I've posted an assignment. So I'll go to the classwork tab so I can see anything that I might need as a resource as a parent or a student. So I'll click on the assignment, and it will give you instructions for what you should do. And then it will tell you what it is that you can click on the file that will match that assignment. If you're all done with the homeroom and you want to go to another subject area, you'll click over here on your main menu, and let's look at math. So here's a sample math Google Classroom, and something that's pretty easy to work with is that all of these colors are going to match for all of your, all of your students K5. So, I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry. This is technology. Here we go. Back to the cards. So those orange, green, blue, that will match no matter what grade your student's in. So if you have a 5th grader, their writing is going to be blue, and your 1st grader's writing is going to be blue. So let's go into math. So the stream, again, is just some announcements for the teacher, and you'll notice, there's a lesson posted, there's a new material, a new assignment, and you can look at those things on the classwork tab. So a lesson, a pre-recorded lesson was uploaded, a little worksheet for you to fill out. And then at the bottom, maybe there might be some websites that you can use and explore independently. Again, this isn't going to be what all of them look like, but the setup will end up being pretty similar, especially the stream and the classwork and the main menu. So we wanted to give you a good idea of what it might be like to navigate Google Classroom and how there'll be different subject areas to go through. And all of the teachers will have that organization provided for you as we kind of go through this. And those orientation modules that Jen was speaking about earlier will walk you through that. And the teachers will be a really nice resource for that. So let me stop my share. All right. So Jen, what are you most looking forward to about the virtual campus?
I am so excited to be able to build this legacy. Again, I'm an RCS graduate myself, and I can personally attest to the amazing education that I received going through Rochester Community Schools as a student. And I am just absolutely honored that I get to be a part of this new virtual campus and just continue to be part of a district that's on the forefront of education and innovation.
I agree. It's a really special opportunity. Another unique opportunity that we have as teachers in the virtual campus is that we get to collaborate every day with teachers across the district. So I'm not just working with Brooklyn's teachers. I'm working with teachers from Longmeadow. I'm working with teachers from Brewster. I'm working with teachers from Hampton. And they all bring such a valuable wealth of knowledge to my teaching experience. So if I don't know how to do it, one of them can help me. So it's been really, really cool to collaborate across the district because that's never been done before like this.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I think that, there's a saying that kind of teachers feel like an island sometimes. You're in your classroom and your door is closed. You don't always get the opportunity to collaborate with colleagues next door even sometimes, let alone in buildings across your district. And this has just been incredible to see so many different experiences and different perspectives and different areas of expertise come together. I can feel already in just a week that I have strengthened my own, educational abilities. And I can't wait to just be able to use these technologies that we are accessing to be able to connect with students in ways that, I never even dreamed of, and to be able to engage them on a level that I think is really meeting them where they're at as children that are digital natives, really. So that is a great opportunity as well.
And I think the last thing that we want to touch on, and I speak on behalf of Jen and I, but also all the virtual campus teachers, they 147, I think they said, relationships are at the heart of everything we do as teachers. And so that parent-teacher partnership is going to be more and more important this year. And so I'm really looking forward to that flexible schedule and looking forward to that partnership with parents and caregivers so that we can support your learners at home. It's going to be quite a year. We're really excited. And, they want you to know, teachers across the district, that you can count on us for anything. Thanks. We'll turn it back over to the boss man.
Thank you so much, Ms. Veltri and Ms. Robinson. It's not something that we hide too often, that we truly have the best jobs in the world. And because we get to work with your kids, but another big component is we get to work with teachers like the two of you. So thank you so much for coming in and thank you for being here. So just going to kind of go for a couple more things and we'll be wrapping up soon. So as we said, we've been working on trying to go through questions that you have asked. So I'm just going to go rapid fire with a couple key updates. And I think this is going to hopefully give a sigh of relief. So teacher assignments will be released in Parent View on Friday, which is today at 4:00 p.m. I know that one of the biggest things that students look forward to in the fall is, who is my teacher going to be? This is a very unique environment because for elementary alone, I think we have 64 faculty members. And so the goal was for us to have teachers from their home buildings be with their students, but with the amount of students that transition this program, that wasn't something we were able to accomplish completely. However, it's also an opportunity because we have amazing faculty from the north side, south side, east side, west side of our district, so you really cannot lose. Students can find their Google Classroom credentials in Parent View. So that's something you'll see, and we're going to send out another resource. So if you're wondering everything that Ms. Veltri did and how to log in and where's my login information, we're going to send that out to you and you'll be able to find it right in your Synergy Access, and that will kind of walk you through which is Parent View. The first day of school, that was a hot question. Students will log into their assigned Google Classroom. It'll already be populated, and just as Ms. Veltri said, we'll walk you through it. Now, you might have a kindergarten student who has never been in school before and might be wondering, what do I do? This is such a different time. Kindergarten staff are going to be sending you out some additional resources to walk you through it. Even if you have a younger learner on the side too that might be nervous or unsure about how to turn on a computer or even log into Gmail, we're going to be going every step of the way. I really want to highlight that first week is going to be about relationships. We have content that I guarantee we're going to get through, that world-class education. I know we make a commitment to every student in every program. It will be there. But the first week, we're going to spend quite a bit of time rapport building, just making sure folks have an understanding on how to log in and access the platforms that we're offering, but it's also going to give a chance too for you as parents to kind of unpack some of this as well. So please be on the lookout. You're going to be hearing from us often with resources in the near future. And then the first day of school on September 1st, it is a half day. So please keep in mind that, the content will be prorated at that kind of length of time. So plan on about 3 hours of schoolwork or live lesson type activities for the first half of the day. And so that's something, as we go into it, it's a half day everywhere in the district. All right, a couple other key things with class assignments. As I said, class sizes and class assignments have been completed for almost all 1,800 students, and they'll be released today at 4 o'clock. The class sizes are consistent. So whatever the brick and mortar or in-person settings were, even in previous years, they're consistent in virtual. Students will be in class with at least 3 other students from their home school, most likely even more than that, but depending again how many students from each school came over, but at least 3 other faces in those meetings will be from their home school. When possible, the homeschool teachers were also assigned to their students. That happened as many times as we could. We spent quite a bit of behind the scenes efforts making sure that we could create schedules and making sure that we can create class assignments that were conducive for all of our children. So those will be released at 4 o'clock, and then we'll be able to start sharing and communicating and make sure that you have everything that you need as we go in. So as I mentioned, if this helped out but gave you some more questions to ask or some more wonderings, do not hesitate to reach out. We're going to be housed at the Schultz campus, which is over there almost on the corner. It's a little south on Avon on John R. So we're looking at expanding services as the program starts to develop. I know there were some questions about ESL support, or would we have support for students with IEPs or 504 accommodations? All of that stuff will be put in place. As Mr. Lindstrom showed, we have resource staff, we will have speech pathologists, we're gonna have counselors, but we also wanna make sure that we're building the program intentionally to meet the needs of our students. And so as we do that, please be on the lookout for other opportunities. And that might be even in-person opportunities, especially once the mitigation efforts of COVID-19 start to decrease, where students will have opportunities to come into the physical campus and start connecting with our faculty face-to-face. So on behalf of all of us, we just want to wish you well going into the weekend. Remember 4 o'clock, check that parent view for those assignments. And we're in your corner, and we're going to get launching, and we're in this fun, exciting, I don't know if it's a plane or a freighter or something to house this many people, but we're all in it together, and it's going to be nothing short of a fantastic journey. So we're going to sign off. Take care. And if you joined us late, or if you have a friend that did not catch this, go to rcsvirtual.com. We'll be posting the recording of this stream there, and you can watch it if you want to see some parts over again, or if you want to share it with some other friends or neighbors. So thanks, everyone. Take care.